Yo, what's good, everybody, and welcome back to the Headspace Podcast. This is the show where we break down newish hip-hop albums track by track, giving thoughts and opinions on every single song. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and today we are going to be talking about Sereni-T's project, Carpenter's Daughther. Why am I doing this, you may ask? Because she asked me and I said I would, and then time went by and I'm like, oh, I should probably do it when I get the opportunity. This was the opportunity. Sereni-T to me is a top-tier talent in Montreal. I really dig what she does with songwriting, her vibe, her flows, her abilities live. So it's like, it's fun to listen to her music. It's not a chore in any way, shape, or form. So it's like exciting to do it. I'd heard a lot of the singles as they came out. And for me, it was just a pleasure to run through it. I don't have a lot more to say about the introduction, but if y'all want to see me do more of these reviews of people, then y'all got to hit the like, comment, subscribe, and show us up in terms of supporting the review idea as a project. With that being said, we're running through it track by track. I have listened to it ahead of time. I'm going to give you my thoughts on each particular song with the best of my abilities. The lyrics be not as available as I would like them to me, so I listened a bunch of times. Going to do my best to convey what I feel as we go through the project and just share that with you. And then y'all can listen to it and let me know what you think about it. We're going to run it live with the songs on the Twitch. So if you're watching this after the fact, there were songs being played on the stream. So make sure to go hit that up. But yeah, we're going to get into it shortly. The project is called Carpenter's Daughther, and I really like the cover. I like the Christian symbology with building, but with the cross and everything there. If you look at the T in Daughther, it's got red giant emphasis because the T in general is a cross shape, so you can feel that emphasis through it coming through. The cross chain is very prominent on the dude as well. I really like the way it just invokes all that. It's really a well done thing, and I think it stands out. Not sure who designed it, but it's lit in terms of conveying what I think to be a core element of where you're supposed to go with the project. And if there is a goal to album art, I would imagine it's either to catch attention or to contribute to the overall aesthetic feel of the project, in which case I do believe she has accomplished her goal with this. The title is super nifty too, right? Because Jesus was a carpenter, so in a sense it's this mission statement that she's a daughter of faith in some way, but I don't know if her dad was literally a carpenter. She might have even said that. We did an interview. But it's a cool concept just to think of it. Or even if you want to go a little metaphysical with the idea of creating via carpentry as a thing, it's just this idea of maybe a more naturalistic approach to life, or something older, not to call it old, but something different in the approach, less technological, more material in a tangible sense. I like it a lot. With that, I'm going to run through the tracks because I feel like it's worth just touching on the ideas you have coming into it. And there's 10 of them over here, and the first one on this project is called Snakes. I really like this song. It starts off the project kind of strong. Lately I'm a sucker for stuff that makes me want to kind of bounce around a little bit. So just the energy of the beat and the vibe, it's not it kind of communicates, get up, get ready to move a little bit, I find. And I found myself dancing as I heard this being played around, so I was super into it right away. But then to get into Sereni-T's performance, even without the bars or anything, her performance is really stellar. Sereni-T is definitely somebody I think that brings versatility to the table. If you really watch for the way she's bringing flows, in some cases she'll keep a flow for 2 bars and then have a hook transition bar and then drop in a whole nother flow that's gonna last up until the next 2 bar point, and then flip in something that she'll hold for 4 bars and then flip it. And I'm really into that stuff. It took me a long time to appreciate a good constant flow, but when you can kind of construct it in a way where you have a multiple constantly changing environment, it makes the song, in my opinion, feel more dynamic and alive. And what I really like about the way that she does it is it's because she has the melody and the flair and the delivery, she can shift pitch, tone, kind of bring 7 voices on one song, and it just kind of creates this feeling of hook after hook after hook after hook. Pretty much any chunk of the verse can kind of feel like a hook. And that to me is superbly impressive at a level where the writing is super nice. But then when you get into the content, the song's called snakes. Sereni-T is immaculately precise with her flow. Like I do not know why they hate me the way they do. Something so hypocritical. I'm not really good at remembering bars like that these days, but like it's just the way that she lined everything up so that the flow matches like perfectly, and just kind of rides it. Every word choice is just so precise as she walks through this vibe of like, yo, there seems to be a lot of snakes out there, and a lot of presenting this environment where I guess people be talking whatever they talking and just acting kind of funny, and it's almost got this feeling of like, get rid of the snakes, there's so many of them out there. And it sets up a context, right? Because it has that like biblical reference, right? Because like even if you run it back, like it was the snake that offered the temptation, so there's that like idea of imagery, these people, and like kind of presenting temptations that don't make sense. I don't remember if this is the track with the freak. I should remember. I should have taken better notes. I should have taken notes. But like, just the idea of the contract that comes up that like is not really a good fucking offer or whatever. If it's not in this song, my bad. But it's like what puts into my head. And like just the idea that people are out there saying this, that, the next thing in this environment. And then when you think about the context of music and life and the way everything maneuvers, it's almost like framing it like everybody out there is tempting you with whatever, but it's all kind of like garbage. And I feel like in the chorus it kind of flips it to the idea of bitches being like, I guess, a more relatable thing of like this woman that like is kind of representing shit you shouldn't have, or you're the kind of person you shouldn't spend time with. And then it kind of flips it into all kinds of flows. And I think that's what's really cool about it, is every time you listen to it, at least until you catch them all, but there's like different pockets being explored and discussed. And I feel like if you really listen to the way that she delivers her every syllable, it's pristine. It's like it's at a level that isn't flat. Like she doesn't need effects to sound super litty with like every syllable, and then everything just flows so perfectly. I fucks with this song a lot. I would give it a 4.5 on 5. That's all I gotta say about that one. So we can move in. This is how it's gonna be. The next one is called Deep End. Yeah, I might forget to say this later, so I'm just gonna big up that cool layer under the chorus as it hooked around. Like the chorus comes through at the end, and when she extended the chorus, she added that like extra layer of ad-lib under it, and I'm a sucker again for that kind of thing. This is another track I feel like that is super well composed and super well put together. Like I feel like the emphasis on good structure within songwriting is felt. I don't know if that's like a cool thing or not. Some people like it, some people are not, but to me these feel like songs. Like, yo, these are like litty. Like this could come from anywhere level of song. And I want to just give love to Meticulous, because I know he did a lot of mixing on the project. I was on a call with him, so I was like, I should probably shout him out. I know he didn't do the whole thing, but he did a lot of work with this. Sereni-T, this is like really cool. Like for real. Like what I like about this song is it comes in with like a more repetitive hook. It's different than the last one. It's a different vibe. Like the last one was a little tricky. There's a lot of little tricky things going on in it. This one, it's a simpler hook. It lets it resonate with people. It's still dancey, but it's more serious. So it kind of like migrates. And if you think about the first track, it's about snakes, the temptations or whatever. And then what's the follow-up to indulgence is usually depression, right? A sadness takes in. And what I think is super amazing about the way she put these verses together, they're in that more story-esque tone, verse delivery, where it's not really about like immaculately flashy bars. It's more about conveying like almost like a pep talk. Almost feels like a lecture that you're getting to like lift up your spirits to a depressed person. And you don't know if it's like talking to somebody else, somebody close to her, like a lover / close friend who's in the slumps. But it also is written in a way where it feels like it could be like super introspective, and she's basically writing to herself. So that kind of universality is something I think is mad cool. It almost becomes like this like song for people to just listen to, and when they like hit that point where they need to like question how they spend their time and how these loops of depression. Like I like how she's like, you know, why are you sitting at home, you know, indulging it instead of going out to like change it? And it has this super proactive tone where it's not like it's not okay to just kind of exist like that forever. Not to say that it's done in a way where it's dismissive of shit. It's just more like what you would say to somebody to kind of get them to maybe snap out of a situation. And I really thought that angle was cool. and I really think it fits well thematically right after the last track, because I do believe there's like a cohesive kind of story element that ends up playing out in this project, or I just like to look for those, and so that concept comes through. But the songs are just so different next to each other, like but they work so well next to each other, and I think that's the mark of like a really good, solid, cohesive project. So I'm really excited with this one. I'm gonna give it a 4.35 on 5. It's super enjoyable to listen to. It's a little bit less, I would throw it on the bump, but like when I've heard the album as an album, its placement, its vibe, the way it carries everything over is super fantastic. With that being said, I don't have much else to talk about this one, so let's move on to the third track on the project, which does not feature Chris Cross. A little inside joke. It's called Focus Here. Yeah, I feel like this song is super fun, and like if you go back to like that story arc idea, right? So you have the last track kind of looking at the dark sides of being kind of bound by depression, and it's almost like after hearing that charged up message, like there's this explosive, almost aggressive energy. It comes through in the delivery, and honestly, how many people doing things like exaggerated long like leading right into this like fucking amazing pre-chorus that's just super like hooky in the delivery, with like the kind of almost comically quizmical high-pitched delivery with like where's the Bible coming true, got me feeling like Doctor Who and all that. And I was like, say word, Doctor Who's pretty litty. It makes me happy to know that like Sereni-T fucks with Doctor Who. But like just the idea of like again tying it back into the core theme of like I guess the symbolism of the Christian references, but like when you really do look at the biblical prophecies, there is a lot of things, even down to the current state of Israeli politics, that look like the Bible becoming true, is all I'm trying to say. Is it? I can't say that. But if you look at that stuff and then you look at current world events, I mean, I know motherfuckers have been saying this for like ever and ever, but like some of it's wildly like it could be happening. So that's an interesting way to like frame it, at least through a lens that made sense to me. And I kind of just like the idea of like just kind of grabbing life aggressively, doing what you got to do. Like the idea of wasted time, you know, not grinding, kind of creates these repercussions that you don't see, or that like you have to apply yourself a degree of focus to go through with it. I thought the cruise line was pretty funny. Totally dates the song, but the whole song was like, it's dated from the start. So I guess owning into it is just extra fucking good. But yeah, I feel like if you think about it on an energy front, it's just like completely a response to the last one, but kicking it off in like a completely different digression. And then if you think about it, when you get hurt and you think about the stages of grief, right, there's almost like a sense of like denial or maybe whatever in the first one, and then it moves through like depression and anger and these various emotions that like happen as you deal with stuff. And I think that's kind of a little bit maybe what's being explored. Like you have a situation, you kind of lock yourself up in a room, and the next thing you know is you go into this almost overworking state to compensate for the emotions and to make up for the last time, so to speak, or the previous stages of coping through a situation. Her delivery is excellent. She does all kinds of stuff. Like it feels like almost like these Missy Elliott kind of vibes in parts of the delivery. Like it just feels creative and fun, and it's got again this dancey, you just kind of want to move as you're listening to it feel. The chorus is it's very much what it is in a chorus. I love the pre-chorus a lot though. That part like fucking blew my mind. The verses are really stellar. It's kind of like in the same construction in the first track, where a lot of versatility, but really with the theatrical elements spiked up, so that you're seeing multiple sides to the toolkit coming through in terms of songwriting technique. If you're gonna have a 10-track project, it's almost like every song has to smack you with something different in order to make it a cohesive, perfect level of project. And I feel like this is being truly developed here. This shit's a 4.5 on 5. It's truly great to listen to. Definitely worth repeating. On that note, the next track features the homeboy, who I've never met, so I shouldn't call him a homeboy. The person who we've offered mutual respect to online, Scynikal. Yeah, this is another upbeat, fucking angry ass song, and I think that's kind of cool. I feel like the fact that it keeps the danceable, upbeat kind of energy is almost like a glue in this project that lets the rest of the beat kind of go in different energies. But this one is more on a fucking almost mosh pit kind of punchy vibe. I love how she again flexes something completely new. Now keep in mind, up until this point, it's like every track has brought something almost completely new to the table from Sereni-T's performance, which is honestly really impressive. And in this case, it's the use of the accent, which kind of flips it up and gives this whole different energy, hard hitting. Like, do not fuck with Sereni-T is the main takeaway. And in case you weren't like sure of the message, you get Scynikal coming through and effectively also stating pretty bluntly with a lot of, like, there's not a lot of like coded messaging here. It's do not fuck with me, which I appreciate. I appreciate the energy that they bring to it. I found like it just kind of hit. The beat was really intense and kind of almost hard hitting as well, with terms of everything landing perfectly in a pocket to create this ambiance of super aggressive danciness. I like the third verse, how it kind of like just kind of brought it back in with a bit more of like this transition from the rage and the kind of aggression to, you know what, upon the reflection, upon taking all of my own advice almost, I was able to analyze who's really the snakes, who's really the right people, identify that people have done things. I'm not forgetting it. I know you're going to get what's coming to yours, but almost like operate wiser, like close the circle a bit. So instead of just taking this passive whatever, complain about it response to it, she takes like, nah, I'm going to put my 2 feet on the ground. I'm going to move forward, but I'm going to move a lot smarter. And thus it kind of keeps the story moving along. I don't have a lot more to say about it. I feel like it's super like blatant in its delivery in a really good way to, again, bring something new to the project and keep it alive. So with that, I'm going to move on to the next track, Blessings. I really like this song. This is definitely the one that had the music burst and pitching and contract, whatever that was like I talked about on the Snakes track. So I was definitely wrong there. Correction within the video. It is what it is. But this one's cool too because, again, tonally it shifts, right? It has this more pensive energy, but it still kind of keeps that upbeat danciness, which I feel like once you've committed to at this point, it's worth committing to. But I like the fact that, like, honestly, like you can do like a little 2-step to pretty much every track on this project, even though the concepts and the deliveries and everything can be so drastically different. And I think that's cool from like an overall sound point of view. As far as her delivery goes, chorus is super simple, just grinding for my blessings, and I think it's like a kind of cool pivot point, right? So we had this like anger, right, that we just came through that in the last couple of tracks, and then I guess what happens after you're angry, if you're trying to be focused and whatnot, it's almost like this appreciation. I like this like emphasis on patience, like slow money being worth it, and these different little things where it feels like, as much as you might want stuff to come immediately or to be this certain vision, or in the sense the contract kind of like giving you offers and deals that might expedite a process but ultimately not give you what you want, and then just to kind of like focus so much on the good that's around you, and like even to the point of like if you wake up and you can like breathe air, you know, like all things considered, that's a blessing. And I don't like disagree with that at all. I mean, to be honest, I force myself to like appreciate my blessings a lot. I'm fucking terrible at it, but it's one of those things where you really, it's helpful. And I think the way that she almost feels like she's talking to herself in this one again, and just kind of sharing like, look, this is the kind of mentality you need to have. But also there's like a firmness to her response to bad situations. Like, it's not just bend over and take it, it's appreciate what you have so that you're not caught up by the snakes that were previously described, creating the anger loop that we just went on. It's almost like this is how we are going to start moving forward so that we could achieve the great things that are meant to come when they're meant to come. And I really like that like story point as it moves forward, and I really enjoy how in her delivery she does some of the tricky stuff, the theatrics things she's kind of almost like introduced in the last few songs, kind of blends them up into a different kind of fun funner story kind of song, talking to herself. Like, I really liked it a lot. I give this another 4.5 on 5. I think it's got a great message, and I think if I'm in the right mood, this would slap in the right way to like be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be such a cranky pants. And I think songs like that are super fun. I mean, not fun because they make you stop being a cranky pants, but like fun in the sense that you end up having more fun because you're not being a cranky pants. On that note, let's move on to Boomin. Yo, I like this song. I like it because it's like, you feel like, again, the evolution coming through. There's still problems. There's still oppression. There's especially the fact that it focuses on like actual like systemic issues, like here in Montreal and Quebec. Like, as like, I'm sure there's the combination of being black, but also the English shit. I'm saying, say a word. Not a lot of people bring that up. I'm frequently kind of making noise like people never talk about it. Well, Sereni-T talked about it. That's wild. I'm pretty sure it's related to a certain TV show, and the fact that like being an anglophone meant that like on the like outro part of that, like definitely like you can't really participate unless you can rap French, which is wild to think about how like English is a backbone of like so much of the culture, and at the end of the day it doesn't really matter because the law and the way the government works, you can't be English on TV like that and get like the funding required to make it a reality. And I appreciate that got brought up the way that it got brought up, and I felt like it was super classy and super like well delivered while still touching on shit. I love the Google over Bing mentality, right? Because effectively it could be like just more than one way to do it, but at the end of the day we're just gonna pick the Google because that's just what we do, which if you apply it to the way laws and governments and systems work, it's like, well, that's not worked out well for all the groups of people out there. It may have worked out well for my group of people pretty well, but not all the groups of people is all I'm saying. So it's super nifty, but it feels like in spite of all of these weights, right, that chorus, we booming, like it just feels like there's like a praise to grinding within the struggle, and she brings this energy again that is like pretty unmatched. Like I feel like she's just got like this ability to use her voice that is really not that common. Like so much emphasis on, again, like every syllable coming off just perfectly pristine and well delivered. And I know she used to do these lengthy off the domes and she's putting so much training and practice into it, but like to bring that back into songwriting and have it slap so hard, oh my gosh, it's true talent. I really like her delivery, but I also like the way that she's able to bring the concepts forward, and it makes sense, right? Like the last song has some appreciation, and now it's like you move into like dealing with the bigger issues and how to thrive under pressure, and I really fucking like that a lot. This track's a 4.75. It slaps really fucking hard. So let's move on to the next one, which is en français, c'est le passé composé. Yo, this is a flex. I didn't really think about it till I was like really thinking about this in the context of the project, but if we go back to that local politics of linguistic flexes, right? This is definitely a, oh, say word, you think I can't rap in French? Boom, let me show you what the fuck I can do. And it slaps. I like the way she delivers her chorus. It's repetitive in the sense that it's the same words, but her delivery, like the high-pitched twist on the second way she drops it, again, just carries it to like another level of fucking freshness with it. I mean, I got the sense of what they were talking about because it's French bars, and I'm sure there's doubles and shit that went way over my head. Leave it in, like, it feels like she's talking to a particular group of people that have maybe not done right by her in her mind, and the vibe wasn't correct or something, and well, like, you know, they did her dirty, and she's like, in a sense, leave it in the past, it feels like, because as for herself, she kind of has to move on to achieve whatever she's doing. But at the same time, it's a little bit of a, oh, you're fucking wrong. You need to tell me now how you were wrong because you done fucked up and you know it. The dude who I've never heard of before is fucking fire. I really like the alliteration with the simmer part there, where it like played on that like Beanie Man track for a quick minute and then went into like pure alliteration, which was dope. But again, like outside of the parts where he's rapping in English, I don't know what he was fully going on about. I just think it sounds super blessed. And what I really like about it is because the musicality is so on point, I don't need to really fully understand every bar. It's just super good to listen to, and I really enjoyed the track. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think it's brilliantly placed. I don't want to be too specific, but if it's what I think it's about, this is brilliantly fucking placed. This is well done, Sereni-T. Well fucking done. I really enjoyed this. Like, it put like a huge smile on my face to listen to this track, because I get where you're coming from. Let's move on to the next track, Next to You. This is a love song, which I feel like is a good way to transition the album, right? Like at this point, it feels like we did The Last Subject. We covered it in a very good way. We showed how to move on through adverse times, and then it's almost like once your heart's ready for it, the next step is the love comes in. And I really like that it kind of turns into this track. I mean, RoyyalT has a stellar voice. Like, when she's on a track, it's present, and like she just destroys hooks. Like, she is top tier in my opinion with her ability to do what she does, and she just crushes it. I mean, it's simple. Like, it catches you with the beautiful melodies. Widget comes through and does a verse where it's like he does his thing, but he's doing it for her, and he's kind of, it's almost like putting it out there a bit, like, I still need a girl. Sometimes it's like the verse almost feels like a calling card, like I'm out there looking for love a little bit. And I'm not saying it's like fully like that, but it kind of comes off sincere like that. Like, this is honestly like what he wants to say and like what he wants out of a situation. And then I feel like Sereni-T just comes and does her verse and it complements it, like, yo, I'm here. So it's almost like a putting out a call, and then the call gets received, and it kind of lands everything and glues it all together. Overall, I mean, I'm never the hugest fan of love songs, but this is really nice to listen to. It's super enjoyable. It's super well made. Everything delivers. It's concise. I'll give it a 4.25. It's not that I dislike it in any way. I just think it's like a really like less what I would listen to kind of song, so it's harder to give it the same kind of grade. I don't remember if I gave Passé Composé a grade, but just in case I didn't, I'm gonna throw a 4.5 on that. Anyway, I don't want to just waste time blibber blabbering, so let's move on to the next one. It's called Wetty. I like the drip drops and the beat. I like the overall vibe. Canada Dry, y'all know what that is. It's the fucking ginger ales and shit. Nah, we Wetty. You know, we lit. This feels like almost like a little love anthem to the city, and it's like really cool to see that. So on the same project, which again takes this whole like journey emotionally, right? So in this chapter, it feels like the closure. So like the first chapter, it was like, yo, shit's kind of not good. Things are fucked up. Depression, anger, harsh emotions. The next chapter is like taking over and gaining control, centering and grounding yourself, which leads to the rewards of that situation, which is like love and good times. So here we're in like a good times kind of vibe. And I really like the way that the project kind of pulled through like that. I think it has a whole vibe to it that like makes it feel like a story arc has taken place across the 3 acts of like a movie kind of thing. Bars are fun. It's just a bunch of Canadian shit, like a bunch of Munchie shit. It's cool. Like, I don't have a lot to comment on it. It's mostly like the delivery was amazing. It's catchy. It gets stuck in your head. Like pretty much everything else on this album, it makes you want to dance. I mean, Next to You makes you want to like slow dance in ways that make me appreciate the song more in like the right context. But this one is back on that fun shit, which also makes me appreciate it more depending on the right context, the more I think about that kind of environment. And I feel like what's cool about this album, if we just want to like touch on that, is it feels like, yo, there's almost a track for like every vibe you could want to have a particular track for, which really is dope. I like Wetty a lot. I'll give it a 4.5 on 5. It's another solid tune. I can say I've listened to this album like 5-6 times easy, and it's really good. They grow on you. They're the grow on you kind of songs if you ain't feeling it in full for the first time. But just her technique, her way of just making it rewarding to like listen to the way each line just comes out perfectly. I don't know. It's fun. There's one more on the project. It's the title track, Carpenter's Daughter. I really like this. Again, it kind of closes in on the self-affirmation angle. It's almost like this is all the shit that gets said about me. This is my perception. This is my brand. And then it's like, who am I, she, Carpenter's daughter, kind of brings it on home. But it doesn't necessarily matter what you think, because I'm good with God, and therefore I'm able to just kind of roam through. It's like I'm super cognizant of what you're saying. I mean, down to like, she got a crib here, she out there like this, she's a good rapper, she's this, she's that, and she got a man, she don't. Like, it's just almost like gossip about a bunch of shit that people be saying that maybe isn't relevant to anything, when in reality it should be something more along the lines of people caring about like the music or the mission or showing up. And it's like almost like a criticism on people just being so caught up on the wrong things. But then again, with everything we've just listened to, it feels like, in spite of all of it, like, your words don't faze me. I'm cool. I'm good with who I am. This is who the fuck I am. You will just accept and deal with me. The beat's intense and it's strong, and it feels like a really different vibe. Like, this is the one where it feels like Sereni-T is the most likely to not give a shit what you think, but in a way where it feels this confident angle of like, you can't hurt me. And I like that energy a lot. She's got a bunch of tight little short flows she's dropping, and I feel like the whispering that she brings in at the beginning is nice. Like, this is a really cool way to end the project with something that, again, it ties it back into almost like the same energy of Snakes. So it kind of creates like a loop, so it brings it back in. But because the tone is so strong and less accusatory, it like shows the power of the progression when dealing with the same bullshit, instead of it being like elusive, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's not, I know exactly what the fuck you say, I don't really care, I'm gonna go do my thing the way it needs to be done. And I feel like that's a super cool way to complete the situation. I know I've been pretty liberal with these, but I really like every song on this project, so I'm gonna give this one another 4.5 on 5. Like, I don't like, it's just really good. And I guess that's kind of it for like the end of the album review. Basically, we are here. I kind of summed it up a bit as we went through, but I feel like it's a cohesive exploration into dealing with like hard situations, especially at hard times, and then it kind of blends through this emotional exploration, varying of different songs. It's got a little bit of everything on it, but in a way that still clues to a core concept. The project's definitely in like the 4.4-ish kind of range. You know, there's a couple of them I think that weren't like exactly my favorites, but everything in my opinion is objectively solid, well put together, and I feel like it's just pure to her in a way where nobody else could have written this shit. It just has her energy all over it, and I'd highly recommend it. I think it makes Montreal look good, and I think Sereni-T is truly one of the top tier talents up inside of this city, and y'all should go bump this thing for real. On that note, it's great to have y'all here. Definitely make sure to let me know in the comments what you think, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you really want me to review your albums, you can show the love and go spread the word of the albums, and just share the videos and all that good stuff. On that note, live long and prosper, everybody.